if I need to make variations, which is something I have to do for video games all the time, since it has these take markers embedded, it's going to go to different takes of it. So all these are going to be unique variations. But that can be nice for video games to work like that. Let's say I needed to make a bunch of source. I can run it, and it's going to just go through and create 100 different variations. Maybe you don't know exactly what you're making, but when you hear something cool.
Hello everyone, welcome to another ReaperBlog video. Today I'm talking with Nick von Kaenel. He's a sound designer for video games and a ReaScript creator. Today he's showing us his new premium script, NVK Create. Before we get into the bulk of this video, I did want to make it clear that this is a sponsored video. Nick is paying for your attention. And if you want his script, you can go to nickvonkaenel.gumroad.com. Use the code ReaperBlog for 10% off. So yeah, sponsored video, just wanted that to be clear. And let's get into the video. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here. I've been watching the channel for a while, so it's great to finally meet you.
Tell us about NVK Create.
NVK Create is a script I made for Reaper, which allows you to search for sounds and also automatically layer and design in a kind of different way than you might be used to. It focuses on randomization as a tool that you can use when designing, and also just streamlining the entire workflow, speeding up time spent editing sounds and bringing them into your project.
When you showed me this about a month ago, I was so excited. It was really impressive because it seemed to consolidate several tools and advanced functions that either weren't available before or would be very convoluted to use.
Yeah, exactly. I'm constantly just trying to speed up my workflow. And I felt like there was an opportunity with Reaper to create something that is really targeted towards sound design specifically. I'm a sound designer for video games, so I'm constantly just having to make hundreds of assets, and I'm always looking for new ways to create source. So that was kind of the inspiration, and I've been working on this for a year now. So basically, I'll come up with different ideas, and they all get incorporated just as an iterative process when making this, and that's kind of how it came about.
And over the past few months, you've had tons of feedback from users in the community, sound designers, and that brings us to where we are today with the release version of NVK Create. You want to dive right into the demonstration now?
Yeah, let's just dive in. So the script, I have it assigned to a hotkey, so I can just bring it up. What it has done is scanned my Media Explorer libraries. So if you click on this magnifying glass, you can select any of your Media Explorer databases and search through them. And one thing that's cool that you that you can't do in Reaper currently is you can actually select multiple databases at the same time and search them all. So if you want to have smaller databases that you don't always search through, it can be good for that. As you type, the results will appear instantly. You can even change some of the UI settings so that it will not always show everything. So you can have it in a more compact view if you want. It can be nice because it kind of just is there when you want it and then can get out of the way really quickly if rather than having to have your Media Explorer database open all the time or another search library. So if I'm adding a sound, I can just open it, find a sound I want, and you'll notice it creates these regions. So I can use the arrow keys to kind of put sounds here and find something. And then if I press enter, now the sound is in my project, and it's added in this this take marker, and it's added in the variation that it was playing through. So already, maybe you can see that's a lot quicker than having to go and select the region yourself. And it also has all the rest of the sound is still in the file, so you can access it later. And then with some of my other scripts, you can go through quickly to all the different variations. So if I was working on something and, let's say I added a couple sounds. The sound is going to make no sense, but that's fine. With this kind of workflow, let's see what this sounds like. All right, awesome. If I need to make variations, which is something I have to do for video games all the time, I can just select these, and since it has these take markers embedded, I can make copies, and then also it's going to go to different takes of it. So all these are going to be unique variations. Slightly different. So that can be nice for video games to work like that. Most exciting feature, I think at least, is the multi-layer mode. It allows you to put in a search, and then it's going to make something based off of that search with these settings here. So you can see I have it set to one variation. That's how many versions it's going to make. And the number of items is how many layers you'll have. And then the length, it actually will analyze the files that it's searching for and see if they fit within that target length. So that can be really nice for not adding long ambient sounds into the sound you're trying to make.
And the numbers there for like length, is that 3 seconds or?
Yeah, this is 3 seconds. So if you hover over it, it has some information on what they mean.
And that's a drag control.
And awesome. You can drag or scroll if you want to change it.
Okay.
And this pitch is semitones of random pitch shift. And this is using play rate pitch, which is, for me as a sound designer, that's pretty much all I will really use, just because it sounds a lot better. And we don't have to target beats like in music. So this will add somewhere between 0 and 12 pitch shift up or down. If I have it set to that, or 24 will be 2 octaves of total pitch shift. This offset adds a random item position offset. So if you kind of don't want the transients of the sound to line perfectly up and you want more variation in there, you can do that. This reverse percentage, it's pretty cool for whoosh sounds, actually. It will randomly reverse the sound based on this percentage. So if I have it at 50%, then half of the sounds are going to be reversed, but you'll see it reverses it in a way that it peaks nicely. So if I run this right now, it's created a sound for me. And I think this sound's probably reversed here. You can see how it kind of makes it an uplift into the peak. So I can play this back. So we have like a nice layered sound there. And that was all made in about 2 seconds. So if we want to do 100 variations, we can do that too. So let's say I needed to make a bunch of source. I can run it. And it's going to just go through and create 100 different variations. So this can be really nice when you're kind of preparing to work on something and you just need a bunch of different material to work with, or if you just want to kind of go through and find something that sounds right to you. So maybe you don't know exactly what you're making, but when you hear something cool, you can just take that and use it on your project. Or one thing I like to do for whooshes is I use another script I made called NBK Auto Doppler, which automatically adds a Doppler to sounds, and then I'll make them even more whooshy. And I won't render out all of these, but you could easily just kind of render your sounds. They'll be ready to go to use in a different project. So it's pretty cool for that. Just the ability to make so much content so quickly, I find extremely useful.
It's amazing. Let's go over the workflow just in case anyone missed that, because it's going pretty quick. Mm-hmm. You have a shortcut to bring up your search function. And before that, you have to set up Media Explorer databases. So it's using a Reaper function. It's not recreating that. It's just kind of adding on to it. So you still need Media Explorer databases with sound libraries added to that. Then your search function will pop up. On the left side of the Media Explorer, we can see your databases, and in the Create window, we see the same databases listed there. This automatically grabs all of the databases. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. If you're using the favorite feature too, it will also import those as well. So if I set as favorite, it's going to import that into here, and it'll show up as a See, so as a star like that. And you can also add favorites from this script as well.
That looks like a mouse modifier.
Yeah, I'm doing alt click, or you can do Command or Control F. You can also actually hide these too. So if I do Control H, it will hide it. And then the next time you search, it's going to put it at the bottom. And there's
I just noticed you have tooltips at the top of the search as well.
Yes.
For favorites and for hiding. Awesome.
And I've also created a manual. If you press F1, it's going to open up the manual, which has all these hotkeys listed for you. And I'm planning to put together some tutorials as well, because I know it's not the most complicated script, but there is a little bit of stuff you have to learn.
It's pretty deep. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I guess it's deeper than a lot of scripts, but comparing it to like a search program, maybe it doesn't have metadata and stuff like that. It doesn't, but yeah, it is fairly deep, I guess.
Okay, so it's searching file names only?
Oh no, I guess it searches metadata, but you can't edit metadata in here.
Yeah. So I mean, you can easily edit metadata in Reaper now. If there's issues with your library, fix that, then your tool will work. Yeah, I didn't want to replace the things that Reaper already does really well. Like I think the scanning of Media Explorer databases is great, and the fact that you can already edit them, it's good for managing your databases in here. And then this just built on top of that. It makes it much quicker to add things, and just being able to like have it grab 6 different random files that are related, drop them into the session on separate tracks, aligned with peaks, and then add variations of the same sounds. It's amazing. I can see that being so helpful and such a huge time saver as well. Oh yeah, it saves a ton of time. I wanted to focus on just improving the UI experience of finding a sound, and then also, yeah, just add these new features that I've always wanted. Yeah, it's kind of just an extra layer on top of Media Explorer that can really change things. And there's a lot more stuff I actually want to show you. It is pretty deep. Okay, so we've seen using this through the interface, but you also have a kind of a hidden way of doing this just with shortcuts for different functions. Is that right? Yeah, there's 2 scripts, and so I haven't assigned hotkeys. One is NVK create, and the other one is NVK create replace. So if I close this, and let's maybe look at this sound that I made. This one, if you click on an item and you run it, it's going to swap it out with another item, and what it's looking at is kind of the search term that you used for that item. So let's say I searched for ice impact, right? It's not an ice impact sound, but that's fine. And you bring it into your project, and then, at some point you're listening to it and you're like, maybe that's not actually the sound I need. If you run the replace script, now it'll give you another sound that's in that same search. So I don't have to go back and bring up my search window again and find sound. I can just use the script until I find something that I like. So it can be good. That alone may have saved me like a minute or two if I find something I like in that way. What's cool though is that you can do this for more than one sound at once. So, this whoosh sound that I made earlier, I actually think that's pretty cool. But let's say I want to completely change it. I run the replace script, and now I have a new sound. Or I run it again. And you can see here in the track name, it's actually stored the search as well as these parameters, which are basically the settings you have in Multilayer. So it says length of 3 seconds, pitch of 24, reverse of 50%. And then this means don't normalize. So those are some other settings you may have noticed. You can actually modify the track name though. And let's say you wanted to add a fire layer to the sound. So now, instead of searching for a sci-fi whoosh, this is going to search for a fire. And might take a second here. Probably a lot of fire sounds. Let's see. Oh, okay. And doesn't always work. Okay, there we go. That's a fire sound. Okay, so it was probably a fire bell or something.
Yeah. I mean, with metadata, you never know what you're going to get. What's cool though is maybe I want some water, maybe I want ice. I don't know what kind of sound would need all of these in one, and this might take a second here to run through all of them. Although it can be faster eventually once it caches things. Now you have all these different layers in one, and so it's gonna be searching for a different fire sound, a different water sound, a different ice sound, and these three will all be sci-fi whooshes. And you've maybe come up with a new way to design something, and you can just try out ideas really quickly.
Do we need to use the create window to get the sounds in to begin with, or would the replace function work in an empty spot?
If you click on an empty spot, it will make the track rename window open, and then
can we try like a gunshot sound
sure.
or something like that? So let's
so
do gunshot and then do okay, so it automatically grabs a random file.
And who knows? Oh, there we go. It's kind of a gunshot.
Okay, so let's do gunshot and I don't know, metal impact, and then do mechanical sound and maybe a drone or something. Can you do multiple tracks and then search for all at once?
Oh, sure. Okay, so if I put all these tracks in a folder and then I click on the top of the folder and then I run the script, it's going to search for all of these sounds at once and then add them in. And as you can see, not everything's perfect, but you can just click it and find something that is more along the length you want. we have that sound.
Cool.
Yeah, I sometimes like doing for creatures are hard, but sometimes you can get lucky if you put in like lion, tiger, bear all in one and just see what it comes up with.
Let's try that.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Because this is something that's like, there's no other way to do this quickly, like just putting in random words.
Yeah.
Because it would be 3 separate searches and
right.
and auditioning hundreds of files.
I don't think there's a dog in there. Oh man. Yeah. I wonder if this is the only tiger sound I have. I don't own as many of my own libraries. Yeah, when I'm at work, it's really great because we have just a huge sound library there, so I can find all kinds of neat stuff with this. But I might only have one bear sound or one tiger sound right now. That's pretty much mostly what there is to replace the replace script. The other feature is when you dock the UI. So I have it docked here, and you can resize it to whatever you want, or move it to the left, and the UI automatically adjusts. So if you have it up here though, which is a way that I like to use it, it's not taking up much space on your screen, and you can search for a sound, and then it's going to actually have a bigger waveform preview up here. And if you press the question mark key, you can randomize your results, so you're not always finding the same stuff. There's a sound I made. And then same as before, you can just drag it into your project from there.
Or I think you said you press enter.
Yeah, or if you press enter. If you press enter, it will close unless you have this button which pins the script. So
enter does the region that is previewed?
Yeah, enter will, so if I go to that fourth one, you can see that it added the fourth variation.
Okay.
You can click to drag and it will bring in the region as well. So
okay.
I kind of had this idea for a separate script. I wanted to be able to click on an item and then see a waveform preview of the other variations in that item. Because normally you might have to, drag it out to see what's there, or just scroll through. And I've always found that a little bit annoying for finding stuff, which is why I made the ability to just switch to different takes. But you'll see here this waveform preview, when I'm not playing back a sound, it actually is showing the sound I have selected. So you can see if I put in a different sound, you can see when I click between them,
Yeah,
it's going to go to that actual sound. And here is what is actually being shown on the track. So
super
I can
cool.
drag through here and find the area I want, or I can double click to select an entire region.
That is such an advanced feature. I never would have thought of doing that. It's so awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. And so that was something I was making that separately. And then I was kind of like, well, I can just add it to NVK Create, because why not? Then it's only one script. Like I was mentioning earlier, a lot of these ideas are just any idea I have that can somehow go in here, I'll just add it in, But yeah, I find that super useful. And the other thing it does is, this is just for fun, really. It's not actually useful, but it will also show you a preview of like what's playing back.
On the selected track, is that?
Yeah, anything that's going to your output, it'll just make a preview of that. And that was just because I was like, well, it's not doing anything right now. I might as well give it something to do.
Sure.
So
Well, I think that could be helpful.
Yeah.
It's a waveform preview of the master track.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that is very useful.
Yeah, it's not the most precise waveform view.
Okay.
But it's so that's why I say it's more for fun than really.
It definitely feels like it's, not wasting any space when it's actually doing something. I think
Right.
people will enjoy that.
Yeah, exactly. You can resize this, but that's pretty much it with the dock mode. But I just find it nice. You only really need to have one search playing at a time, because you can just easily go through them with the hotkeys. So I find it pretty usable in this mode. It's nice because you can just be working in Reaper and then just press the hotkey and it automatically focuses the window, and you can go get some different type of sound to bring in. And then once you find one you like, you can just press enter, and now it's in your project. So super quick. You don't need to use your mouse at all. It also is very space efficient as well, which I think is important, because you don't want your UI to be filled with a bunch of stuff that you don't need.
Yeah, that's always a tricky part of adding a new tool. It's like it takes up a lot of real estate often with all the new metering and everything that we have. It's like once you start to use that, you're like, okay, now I have no room to work. But this looks really efficient, and yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, thank you. One main feature I feel like I should show, actually.
Okay.
It's nice when you have layered sounds and you're swapping out source to have effects on the track too. I think that adds a whole nother layer of functionality for trying out source, because you can swap out 3 different sounds, and then maybe you have different effects on the tracks. Let's add some random effects here. And this is a secret sound designer trick for people to steal if they've gotten this far in the video.
Yeah, they deserve a bonus if they've gone all the way through it.
Yeah. I love the sound of Morph 1 with the ratio. I use it all the time for kind of that high-end noise. You can tame it in a really nice way. I can try out swapping out these sounds with the effects already on them, which is something that's you can't really do in any other search program. You can only try out one effect at once with one sound. So there's also this track preview button here. So if I click that, now there's a little tremolo sound on this. We'll just find random sounds in the library. Okay, pretty cool. Maybe you can hear the.
Yeah, I can hear it.
It's going through the effect now. And so you can try out different items with the effect that you're looking at. And I know you can do that in Media Explorer as well. It also, if you type in Media Explorer Preview, it'll do a track that actually has effects, but it will do the same thing. So even if I don't have this selected, it's still going to play through there.
Yeah.
And I also made it so you can type NVK, which it's a lot shorter. Right now, it just looks for the first track that's named NVK or Media Explorer Preview. I just put an NVK because I didn't want to have to type out Media Explorer Preview all the time. With that, though, I can be over here working on something, previewing through this track. And then if I hold down the controller command key, it's going to process the sound through that effect. So you can see it's inserted it into the track that I have selected, but it processed it through this effect. So that can be a nice time saver. And it also has embedded the regions as well, so you can switch through them quickly.
A couple more questions before we go.
Mhm.
First one is, I see a fade out on all the items that you import. Is that a function of the tool or another Reaper setting?
It's just a automatic setting that I created that like will fade out things depending on the length of the item. So I kind of tried to choose a setting that would work well for sound design, but I didn't want to do too low of a fade and then possibly have pops.
Right.
But, maybe that's a setting I could expose at some point.
It looks like maybe a little more than 10%, 15% of the item length.
Yeah, it's probably maybe like an eighth or something for when it's automatically trimming. You can also turn off the automatic trimming as well. So that's this setting here. So
when you import, it will automatically put in the full length of the file, not just the region.
Yes, exactly.
And then I know this is going to come up in the comments. What theme are you using?
I hacked this together from some theme a while ago. So it's my own theme. So I've modified it and it's completely broken at different resolutions. So I wouldn't want to share it with people.
It's a secret one that only professional sound designers can get.
Yeah, only professional sound designers can get this theme. Just speaking of themes, I went through the effort of including 5 different themes, and we got, if you want this light theme, it's hideous, but it is an option. And I also made this midnight theme for people who want something really dark, but there's a lot of different settings here that I've added. You can even change the opacity so that it's see-through, which is kind of fun, and change the resolution. There's a bunch of stuff that you can find in here, so just wanted to mention that. But yeah,
that's really cool. And it looks like it integrates, like it looks kind of like a native function of Reaper, but then slightly even more modern as well. So Nick, this looks awesome. Super impressed with this script. Where do we get it?
nickvonkaenel.gumroad.com.
Link in the description, of course.
Yeah. Download my repack repository and purchase a license from Gumroad. Enter it when you run the script for the first time.
Right on. So thank you so much for sharing this with us. And everyone, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Support the Reaper blog through Patreon. And visit reaperblog.net for a lot more tutorials.